I'm State Representative Dan Sullivan, here on campus with the Liberty Moment. I'm here with policy analyst Jacob Bundrick with the Arkansas Center for Research and Economics. Jacob, Issue 3 is a big deal for Arkansans right now. Can you tell us a little bit about Issue 3?
So Issue 3 is a ballot measure that was proposed by the state legislature that really seeks to loosen the chains on the issuing of public debt at both the state and local levels. So it's a fairly complex ballot measure, but there's really two main components to it. The first is that it removes the cap on the issuing of state debt for economic development. So right now, the legislature can issue economic development bonds for up to 5% of the state's general revenues. But Issue 3 proposes to completely remove that cap, meaning that the legislature could issue an unlimited amount of debt. The other half of Issue 3 is that it affirms the right of local governments to use debt and tax dollars to secure economic development projects.
A couple of things caught my attention there. One, we're going to loosen the chains on debt. And two, we're going to have other people competing with taxpayer money to see who can outbid other folks for that. Are there any benefits to that?
Well, proponents of Issue 3 say that if we remove the cap on state debt, that the state may be able to attract some large economic development projects that we're really not able to attract right now because of the constitutional restriction. So a good example of that is that we might be able to attract an auto assembly plant similar to the Toyota manufacturing plants that we lost in 2003 and 2007. The argument at the local level is very similar to that.
It sounds like if we're going with taxpayer money, there's a little bit of a risk to putting the taxpayer money out there with no limit on debt. Is that true?
Yeah, there are certainly risks when we're using the public's money to finance economic development projects. You know, if these projects fail, like we've seen in the past with Nordex in Jonesboro or Beckman-Volmer over in Osceola, our taxpayers are stuck footing an expensive bill without much economic benefit. And then at the local level, as you alluded to earlier, we can see cities enter into bidding wars with each other, trying to win some of these economic development projects. And ultimately, this drives up the tax burden for our taxpayers. And in a worst case scenario, we could find ourselves in a similar situation to 1933 when we went bankrupt over issuing debt for road construction projects.
Great. You're a student here at UCA, a business student. What are some of your thoughts about this issue?
I think the question is interesting because when it comes to taxpayers' money, people may be a little bit risky by using the money because the money is not their own. So the way they allocate it may be really loosened. So that may be a real problem in allocating others' money.
You know, that's a real big point here. It's other people's money, putting your taxpayer money at risk. Thank you very much. Appreciate you watching. This is State Representative Dan Sullivan with the Liberty Moment.